This is my first time trying an 8BitDo keyboard. I know they've been doing them, very familiar with 8BitDo. I don't usually review keyboards. It's not something that is in my regular repertoire. So I want to give them a special thank you for sending this my way. On the box, you have the keyboard and this, what I would assume is probably the Penter. I've played a little bit of Mecha BREAK, so this is a collab with the company making the game. The game is currently released on PC. It's quite fun. It shows some of the specs. Oh my gosh. The keyboard, quite heavy, USB-A to USB-C. Though this is not braided, it's quite a flexible and light feeling cable. They're super button connected to the keyboard using a 3.5mm jack. These are some super massive mechanical switches. They feel quite nice. This could easily be a fidget toy. They're quite cool. An instruction manual, 8 different languages, stickers, and what seems to be a quick cheat sheet for some of the shortcuts. A bunch of extra keys in here. These have a little bit of a, wow, they feel awesome. They almost feel like a candy without the sticky part. Like a Jolly Rancher. That's kind of what they feel like. They feel like a Jolly Rancher that's not sticky. Now these, they must have some kind of treatment over them because they have a little bit of a, like a velour feel. It's a little hard to describe. These keycaps feel absolutely amazing, and they're double shots. We have a 10 key less array, 87 buttons. This button that should serve as a home button, kind of like what you have on a controller. Essentially, it's going to bring up your Xbox game bar. What I would assume is a synchronized buttons. I would assume that's probably for a macro or something like that, and probably to open the software. We have wired. We also have Bluetooth, as well as a 2.4 gigahertz mode and a volume knob. Off to the side, we don't have anything front or other side. On the back, our USB-C connection. We have up to 4 connectors for the extra buttons. So of course it comes with one. I would assume if you have multiple 8BitDo keyboards, my understanding is that you could plug more than one to have them each do different things. Type A 2.4 gigahertz dongles. This is magnetized. The shell is ever so slightly see-through. It's actually super hard to pick up on. Whatever is in this thing, it's quite hefty. This is a heavy keyboard, has a nice height to it as well. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's have a quick sound test because these sound absolutely phenomenal. This has to be sound treated. It just sounds so good. Change for all the other keycaps. Kind of felt like I was probably missing a key puller, and indeed it was in the box. All the keys for which you have replacements. The replacement ones are gonna lean in a little more into the blue and orange color scheme that they have going, whereas the ones that come pre-installed, they're definitely leaning more towards the blue. All right, so I'm gonna install everything else, and let's look at the keyboard with the other keys installed. Are definitely a bit more in your face. Personally, I like them better. I think they look great, and you also have a little bit of self-expression and what you want to put where, so that's a nice touch as well. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. So with the keyboard, everything works. It's pretty much plug and play. So we have linear switches, the Kale glaze type, hot-swappable switches as well. We have a 10 key less, 87 keys, those 2 big super mechanical buttons, an aluminum build, and it shows. This is heavy, this is hefty. We have RGB backlit, so of course these keys are not see-through like the ones, but you see a little bit of RGB coming from under. But if we go through the see-through keys, you'll notice that we see RGB. So that's another thing with the original set that was installed, is you're gonna have more RGB for all your keys, because as far as I know, the other ones do let RGB through pretty much through all of the keys that are available, whereas these, the replacement ones, do not in comparison. Ultimate V2 software. If you ever owned an 8BitDo controller in the recent years, that's basically the software that controls everything, and it's the same for the keyboard, so that's nice. You know, it's one software for all your different devices. Upright, we have some extra settings, so we can change language, get beta firmware, about yada yada. Here it seems that we have a firmware for the keyboard, dynamic lighting effect. Ooh, that is nice. So we'll go ahead and update. And according to what I see here, I guess if I was to put the dongle, there might be an update as well, but since I won't be using it, at least for the time being, we're not going to bother with that. As you can see, the process is pretty simple. Now, I preemptively created a profile. You have to create one to be able to make adjustments. Once you have one, you can import, export, rename, but you can also just click on it to make your changes. You can disable some keys, right? If you're gaming and you don't want them to be used, you could do that. Now, the super button, you say which that you're trying to adjust. I have my 2 super buttons on this one right there, so we can just go ahead and click on it, and you can say what you want. Oh, and I forgot to do an audio test for that, I guess. Here you go. They're not silent by any means, but they do sound amazing. Oh, and you can also remove them. This is freaking awesome. So there's your key. Okay. Man, that feels so good. Oh, and these are hot swappable as well? Jeez. Okay. And the app, you really have a bunch of different things. So let's try to go through everything. Default does nothing. Keyboard key values. You can have different functions. Numpad, navigation, modifier keys, symbols, mouse functions, and shortcuts. I mean, you're really not missing anything. I don't know if they can be mapped macros. Click on the key you're trying to configure. So what if I click here and I'm trying, you can put a macro on them. Wow. Okay, so now start. Okay, I guess it's gonna record the keyboard. You can choose to single your macro, repeat, or multiple. And as you can see here, like you can address timings, you can address the push, the release. It's pretty extensive what you can do. Okay, so let's test this out then. If I make a macro, and you know, it's not so much about what it is. I just want to see, now I have a macro here. What if I click S? Can I apply? Yeah, I can apply my macro here. Okay. So we can customize all these. How about volume? You can adjust how much turning the knob will affect your volume, and I would assume that it does increments of 2, and the interesting thing is it always will go for paired numbers. So even if, for example, I put it manually at 57 and then go up a notch, it goes to 60, and when I go back down, it goes to 58, and down again, it goes to 56. That knob can continuously turn. It has no limits. And yeah, 2 gives me increments of 4, 3 gives me increments of 6, 4 does increments of 8, and 5 increments of 10. I will say the knob with volume is extra sensitive. I mean, you know, you just adjust it, but if I move it slowly, sometimes it goes like up and down, or it doesn't go in the right direction. It's a very sensitive knob, but like you wouldn't slowly dial it like I'm doing right now. That said, when I do, I find that it's not necessarily reliable. So if you're trying to like level super precisely, that wouldn't be it. But as far as just increasing or lowering the volume, it works great. And then RGB. So right now we are on a mode called Echo Press. And so whenever we push a key, it's going to give out a little bit of RGB. Other effects, we can close it all together. We have Starlight. Okay, Starlight just keeps on shining a little bit everywhere. Fix keeps it steady everywhere. No modifiers when we push. Cycle will have them rotate. Is it? Yeah, between different colors. This is looking nice. This is looking nice. Color wave. Ooh, okay. You know, your typical wave of RGB. Looking real nice. And with the keys being just slightly frosty, it's not one of those obnoxious in your face RGB. It comes through very nicely. We have a breathing effect. And ripple. So that should cast them away as I push a key. Yep. Nice bit of ripple here. You know, with this keyboard, ripple, actually, it's not usually a mode I go for, but something about this keyboard just makes me feel like it's meant to be. And we can also address the speed. We can address the brightness as well. Oh, the profile is currently closed. Ah, this is to cycle your profiles. Okay. I still don't know what that little star does though. We can have Windows dynamic lighting. That's the first time I hear of that feature, Windows dynamic light. I don't know if some apps will have different behavior to my keyboard. I mean, it kind of sounds like it does. If anyone knows what this is, please let me know in the comments. Probably look it up later. I can see here that I can actually address settings. Oh wow, we can address settings in Windows. Okay. Yeah, when you click on Windows settings right here, it brings you to Windows menu where you have a couple of different options that you can go through. You do have more options if you go through them through the 8BitDo app. And so that is it for software. Let's jump a little more into gaming before price and conclusion.
Engine output. Enemy forces are advancing. Enemy down. Ready for Eliseness. Hitting the front line. Optical camo drone will soon go off. Fire control system unlocked. Unavailable. Melee mode. Energy. Assist. Shooting mode. Enemy forces are advancing.
Narukami, moving in to provide cover.
I love this keyboard. Really, I was not expecting that, and I was even more shocked when I looked at the price, which is $120. I'm not pretending to be a pro when it comes to keyboard. I know my fair share. I've had probably, I want to say, close to half a dozen keyboard in the last 2 years, so I do buy them fairly regularly. I am shocked at the fact that this costs $120 US. You have great switches, sounds phenomenal, looks the part. You have so many features. The 2 extra buttons, which are super cool to have. You have the dongle, Bluetooth, wired. I mean, it does pretty much everything a gamer should need, but all that it does without sacrificing aesthetics, build quality. It's just, I'm shocked. Genuinely, I am truly shocked at how good this feels. I thought this was going to be like 200 easily. I did not expect $120 US. It feels like this got a level of care that I don't usually expect from keyboard at that price point. I would expect that from keyboards that are far more expensive, but that have a great lack in feature, and this has neither of the two. So assuming that the keycaps last the journey, which they should, considering they're double shot, and they have this nice treatment over, I was expecting a keyboard to be decent, that looks good. Now I'm curious, if you have an 8BitDo keyboard, is that always the quality that people get? Because this is peak keyboard for $120. And so there it is, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any inputs, any comments, please drop them in the comment box. Congratulations, 8BitDo. This is a phenomenal keyboard. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.